there was little to no hope in the doctor's words to us. He said Tyler probably wouldn't know who I was. He would probably not have any thoughts or stand or walk or go to school or have a life that everyone else would have.
That's devastating.
It was devastating.
Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of The Hero's Journey, Life Beyond the Diagnosis. I'm your host, Brianna Baskerville, founder of Wichita's Littlest Heroes, and I'm so glad you're here with us for another powerful conversation. Welcome back to The Hero's Journey, Life Beyond the Diagnosis. I'm your host, Brianna Baskerville, founder of Wichita's Littlest Heroes, and I'm so glad you guys are joining us for our second episode. This podcast is all about amplifying stories of families who live courageously beyond a diagnosis, and today's guests embody just that. I'm honored to introduce Kristie Rinn and her incredible son, Tyler Walker. Tyler lives with cerebral palsy and uses a Tobii communication device to interact with the world around him. His journey is one of resilience, innovation, and fierce love, and we are so excited to share their story with you today. This episode is proudly sponsored by Mid-Kansas Auto Auction, who has generously donated over $67,000 to support Wichita's Littlest Heroes. Their heart and commitment in this community is truly remarkable, and we'll be talking more with them after our interview, so stay tuned. Kristie, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family?
My name is Kristie Rinn. We are a military family. We are from Texas, but we have been in Kansas since 2012.
Oh, okay.
And we have 4 kids. Tyler's the oldest, and he has a little sister and 2 little brothers.
And what are their names?
Evan, Ellie, and Carson.
Oh.
What is the youngest? How old? What is the range?
11, he's going into 6th grade.
Okay.
13, he's going into 8th grade. And Ellie Jo is 15, going to be a sophomore next year.
Wow.
Wow. And Tyler just graduated, right?
Yes, he did.
Wow. That you must be so proud.
I'm super proud. He worked really hard to get here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. When did you first receive Tyler's diagnosis? And what were those early days like?
So I believe that it was a little over a year old. So he was, I think it was 14 months when we received the word that he actually has schizencephaly. That's his primary diagnosis. And because of that, he has cerebral palsy. And those early days were very traumatic, not easy. And it's kind of a blur, but I just remember the first day that he was diagnosed. They brought me to a computer and were showing me brain scans, and I couldn't quite grasp. I mean, I knew what I was looking at, but I didn't quite grasp what I was actually looking at. And I was a very young mom at that. And I just remember having this very big burning sensation in my throat, trying to swallow all the things and the feelings and the thoughts down. And my mom came to me with that appointment. So she was with Tyler.
Yes.
And I went to the bathroom and stared at myself for about 5 minutes in the mirror, just kind of like, hey, get this together. I have no idea what any of that means, so we got to go back in there and ask a bunch of questions. I wish I could say I handled motherhood in the beginning with dignity and grace, but there was a lot of living in survival for many years.
He was your firstborn, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So first-time parent, and then you get this diagnosis.
Yes. And there was little to no hope in the doctor's words to us.
Oh.
It was basically everything that he couldn't do or wouldn't do were, I can't remember exactly word for word, but I can summarize that he said Tyler probably wouldn't know who I was. He would probably not have any thoughts or stand or walk or go to school or have a life that everyone else would have.
That's devastating.
It was devastating. Yeah.
How do you even know what questions to ask? Like, I'm thinking of questions.
Yeah,
How do I even
was in the
know?
bathroom like, okay, you got to ask all these questions. And then you go back and I'm like, I have no idea what to even ask at this point right now. And so thank God for the internet. That's when, can't remember exactly, but I believe that's when MySpace and things started popping off.
Yeah.
So you could just search something and find people, and schizencephaly is rare. So I think I found a family in Florida
Oh, wow.
and tried to get connected through them. And most of Texas, I had no village and not
Say
a lot
that
of
diagnosis again.
schizencephaly.
And tell us a little bit about that.
I only know what Google says. It's a rare brain malformation. It can affect any part of your brain. And for Tyler, a little over half of his brain it never developed.
Oh, okay.
And I believe it happens during the first trimester, but I'm not really sure why or anything.
Can you explain a little bit about how his diagnosis affects Tyler specifically?
Oh, it is his cerebral palsy affects his entire body. Mm-hmm. He is non-speaking, in a wheelchair. Depends on everyone for all parts of his care. Trying to think of things to say that would keep his dignity intact, but he eats through a G tube, and so. But he's very communicative, and his nonverbal communication is like on point. Yeah. He's with his eye gaze, his nonverbal communication as far as the sounds that he makes. He's very expressive. Yes, very expressive in those ways.
That's the word I was thinking. Yes, was expressive.
The sounds he makes, and
he's got a real sense of humor.
Oh, a great sense of humor. Yeah, really good sense of humor.
Tyler makes me laugh. Like he cracks me up for someone who's nonverbal. He has a lot to say. He has an opinion, and he has a sense of humor.
And he's nosy. He's listening all the time to everyone. And so, when you have littles, you're like, pss, 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 but he is very, very much listening and can hear all the things that you're like, oh, you weren't supposed to hear that. No. And starts giggling and laughing and
paying attention. Mm-hmm. How has Tyler's diagnosis shaped your family's daily life and your perspective on as parents?
It has shaped everything about our lives. The little things, I was trying to think about this before I came here. When we show up places, a lot of people don't understand the amount of effort that goes into those little parts of life. Just getting ready, getting into the car, driving to a destination, getting out of the car, going to the event. It affects every part of our lives and our days. And his diagnosis has made it to where we look at things differently, how we define success, how we look at communication. And I think the best part is that we live in such a fast-paced world, and everything about him, you can't. It is very much, you have to slow down and take your time and really take in every part of life.
How do you feel like that's impacted the siblings and their perspective on
it? They're all really different.
Yeah.
They're very, very different. One of the things that they're very aware of their surroundings. So the way that we are stared at, or the whispers, or when people are, you can visually see when little kids are uncomfortable, which is very common. It's okay. But no one will come up and ask questions. They do more than they ever did, especially since the Tobii Dynavox is a part of Tyler's life now. But the kids really get emotional and have grown. The older ones have grown up more and they're more mature with it. But the youngest one, he has a very hard time dealing with looks and stares, and he thinks it's always negative. And I'm like, nope, it's not negative. Not always. But I think that they are much more aware of their surroundings than I ever was as a kid, or other kids who don't grow up around the special needs or disabled community. And we have a lot of conversations in our house, a lot of tough ones and a lot of good ones.
You do a really good job of that.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah, you do a really good job of that. How did you first learn about the Tobii communication device, and what led you to pursue that for Tyler?
So I don't remember the exact year. I think it was around maybe 2014 or 2015. A physical therapist from Heart Springs, she actually used to work with Tyler in the school system, and she was very much on the same page as us. Mm-hmm. So she was like, he is so communicative. I said that weird. He communicates really well. Mm-hmm. You can see it in his eyes and his gestures. He's following along in the conversations. His nonverbal communication, so his sounds and his facial expressions were always very much appropriate. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what any communication devices were out there, what they even were. And so she was like, hey, let's get this set up. Let's get you a speech therapist. And this was all at Heartspring. And so, I mean, all I had to do was show up. And so the Tobii Dynavox representatives came out and he just trialed for it right then and there. And my husband, Ryan, was telling me that they told him he was the best, something along the lines of how he did, like, had one of the best trials that they had ever seen.
Oh, wow.
So it was like the key that opened up the rest of the world for us.
That must have provided so much hope.
It did. It very much did. I often think back on the doctor who said that he would not become anything or have this life, and all it took was him trialing this device that came from a physical therapist, and it was a domino effect from there.
Yeah.
And it was pretty simple and easy. I think the process for receiving it was very much because I think we had a very good team around us. Literally all I did was show up and sign some papers, and I know that there was so much paperwork behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The job was probably much more difficult for insurance and the representatives and everything, but it was a simple process for us.
Yeah. Tyler recently went to prom.
Yes.
And he has a girlfriend.
Yes.
And she is able-bodied and vocal. But he asked her to prom. I saw a video you posted of you guys practicing for Tyler's to ask her to prom.
Yes.
So, and I thought it was fascinating just seeing him use this communication device. But tell us a little bit about that.
So the first thing, he's been dating, his girlfriend's name is Jasmine. And he asked her to homecoming dance first, and that was without the device. And so we just made a sign for him, but he very much, we were looking at Google and like, what do you want me to draw? And we'll draw this. And we did that. But then whenever we did receive his new communication device in the mail, that's when we started practicing, because we were like, we're going to make this big. We're going to ask her the right way. And Tyler is he likes to be a class clown. He likes to get laughs.
Yeah.
And so we were very much like, hey, this is a big deal. So we're going to practice in order how you do this. Her name, will you go to prom with me? And he took to it. He was really good. But then he kept playing around and adding like little sounds or purposely saying her name wrong and things like that. And it was a little scary. I was like, he's going to go in front of everyone and make this not how it's supposed to be. But he did really, really well.
He's going to be a 17-year-old boy, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. But it was really cool. We went to a banquet and asked her there in front of her family. And she has hearing aids. And so she was having a little bit of difficulty hearing him. But whenever her guardian repeated it back to her, like, hey, Jasmine, are you going to go to prom? And she was like, yeah. Yeah. Like, what do you think? Yes, I'm going. It was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Oh, I love that.
Me too.
What do you wish more people understood about kids who use communication devices like Tyler's?
That's a loaded question.
I bet.
Because I have a lot of thoughts. Something that I wish it was more accessible. I think about how if I never had the physical therapist say, hey, this is a thing, then I probably wouldn't have been able to, maybe at some point, but I don't know how to go out and seek these things or do these things or what companies.
Without that support or that knowledge.
Without somebody with that knowledge coming and saying, here it goes, just fill this out. I wish it was more accessible. I think that would be a game changer for those individuals, but also for the rest of the world, because it seems like like everyone who sees Tyler use it, they're very like, wow, this is really cool. I didn't even know something like this existed. And something personally with Tyler is it takes him a little bit. There's a waiting time. So if you say, hey, Tyler, how are you? He might take a moment to look and find the words that he actually wants to say. It might be, I don't want to talk to you, or this is not a good time, or I'm doing really well, how are you? But it takes him personally a moment to find the words and say the words, especially in the beginning stages before he was aware. It's like memorizing which words belong on what pages, and then there's so many pages and words in that device. And
just get like familiar with it.
Like
yes,
scrolling to find the words. Like they have to like move to find the words.
Yes, and depending on how long he's been talking, he could be fatigued. His cerebral palsy often is a factor there because his tone kicks in and he gets really excited or really tight, and his head, he's not able to move his head appropriately the way he would if he were in a more calm, less excited state or something. So there's the wait time that I wish people knew about, instead of just assuming I think people get tired of, not tired, that's the wrong word. I wish that people were more aware of the wait time so they could give him the chance to speak and say what he wants to say without predetermining or thinking of the words for him. If he smiles, they take that as like, oh, you're doing good. But he often smiles a lot, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's doing good.
It's that education piece of how the device works, but also like...
Yes.
Just because he's making this face doesn't mean he feels this way.
Exactly, yes. And that is something we run into a lot. People just assume, based off his nonverbal communication, what he's going to say. And then he gets really frustrated. And I'm like, I know. It takes time. But I do think about all the children who could be utilizing an eye gaze like him, or even a touch screen, because he can't point and touch with his own body, but other kids can. So I'm like, this should be way more accessible, I think, than it is. And
Absolutely.
It would make communication, it wouldn't make lives easier, it would make things possible for all those individuals.
You're unlocking like a whole world.
Yes.
And not just for them, but for you and for the world around him.
Yes. Oftentimes people we'll say this too, that Tyler's wheelchair is an extension of his body. And so we have to teach little kids, or even our children when they were younger, you can't just take the wheelchair and go in a direction that you want. That's a part of Tyler. That's like his body, and you have to have permission to just move him around. And so we look at the Tobii Dynavox very similarly. It is an extension of him. It is his mind, his brain, his inner thoughts and feelings and desires and everything. And so it's really, really important. And I just wish it was easier to navigate.
Yeah.
And,
it's fascinating to watch. Tyler is one of the first kids I had ever met with a communication device.
Yeah.
So, what was that process like getting Tyler started with the device? Was it easy, overwhelming?
So it was easy for us just because, like I had said earlier, we had a really good team of people around us. So once we knew, the physical therapist Valerie had said, you need a speech therapist. So we got a speech therapist at Heart Spring, and she put Tyler on her schedule, and we started having like weekly appointments, and she was like, yep, this kid can do this. He's got this down. So we just started going to weekly therapy and learning how to navigate, reading books with it, figuring out what worked for him and what didn't, and making it a part of his everyday life, I think, is the most important thing, so that he can have more experience. But it was a very easy process for us personally.
That's good.
Yeah.
Glad that was easy.
I know. Yeah.
Can you think of a moment, or like that first time that you saw him using it and it had that overwhelming feeling, or what was that like, really seeing him be able to use this device and have that communication?
So one story that I always tell is, it was, I don't know how many years ago. It was a Thanksgiving evening though. And we had just received the Tobii Dynavox not too long ago. And so it wasn't like muscle memory for us to be like, oh yeah, we have to use this thing. It's a whole process with a pole, and it has to be in the proper spot. Oh. And so we went ahead and hooked him up to it. We set it up in front of him, and we were just sitting down with our friends, relaxing, and he went straight to, Mom, I love you. And then he said, Dad. And I called Ryan in there, and he said, Dad, I love you. So that's one of the first stories I always tell, because that's the very first time that I ever heard him say I love you. And you can feel it. You know it. I've always known that he loves me. But to know that he's always had those words inside of him, and to hear them, even if it sounded like a little robot saying it, that was a very meaningful moment to me as a mother. And the second story is, recently Tyler underwent a major spine correction surgery. And the scoliosis was really, really bad. It was in several parts of his lower spine and mid-spine, and it had caused him to lean so far to the right. And in order to utilize your eye gaze, for him, other kids can prop it up different ways and it works for their bodies, but for him, we could not get it in a proper position for him to actually utilize it. And it was causing a lot of frustration. He was in a lot of pain from the spine situation going on, and it took so long to get to the surgery that he lost access to the Tobii Dynavox for quite a while. And we tried every day, but he would just tell us no. I think it was just too difficult for him to hold his head up in that position. But since the surgery was a success and he is healed, the first day I put the device back in front of him, it was nonstop talking, like he never skipped a beat. And that was, I don't want to cry. That was very emotional for me, because when you are living in survival and you're just trying to get to this life-changing surgery, I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking about his communication device whenever you are thinking about surgery and sleep and healing and all these things. And I cannot imagine how difficult that was for him to
isolating,
be able to communicate.
Yeah, very isolating.
What was that span? How long was he not able to use it?
He started, so the surgery happened January 2024. That was his 11th grade year. He started having issues 10th grade year. So I want to say it was probably a good year.
Oh, wow.
Where we always introduced it. We always tried. But he had a surgery scheduled and it had to be canceled because he had issues we didn't know he was anemic. And so you can't go into surgery with that situation.
Amen.
And we had to take care of that. And then getting back on the schedule is a whole thing too. So there was just things that no one could control that made the surgery stretch out later. And so it was probably a good, I would say like a school year in which he couldn't utilize it.
Didn't have
really hard for him.
Yes. I think it was like just seeing his face, like he had tears in his eyes. He was pouting a lot, but it wasn't a pout as in sad. It was like he was happy. He was excited. And then for days, he didn't even want to go to bed. He wanted to stay in his wheelchair with this device. And I was like, hey, we have got to get some sleep. We'll put it on like first thing in the morning. And we did. But I would leave the room and he'd like, Mom, come here. Mom, I'd come back to his room.
Making up for lost time.
Yes. I'm like, yes. And he's like, is Daisy okay? And I'm like, yes, Daisy's our dog. Daisy's fine. I was like, I'm going to go back and do the dishes. And he's like, okay, love you. And I'd get right back to starting the dishes. Mom, come here, Mom. I'd go back and he would just say hi. And I was like, oh. So it was nonstop all day long. And it was very impactful to me. So
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking.
What do you wish more people understood about kids who use communication devices?
I think off the top of my head, the whole waiting thing again, like the education that goes into it, understanding what it is, and that this is just like the wheelchair. This is a part of them. Mm-hmm. So it's not something that you can go just touch and tap and choose the words that you want the person to say. Mm-hmm. I wish people didn't. There was one time we had a conversation where in I believe it was Target, and Tyler was trying to talk to some random man. He was saying hi and how are you? And this man was like, oh, that's so cool. And then Tyler was like, hey, how are you? And he was like, oh, you're so cute, buddy. But he would never directly speak to Tyler. He spoke to me about Tyler being cool and cute. And he was really nice, but I think he was just really unaware. And so I wish more people would be like, oh, there's words coming. Let me actually listen.
Listen to him.
And pay attention and respond. It's not as often these days, but in the beginning, I would have to say, oh, hey, he's talking to you. And they were like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, you just got to listen. And so the conversation, I wish people would talk to him instead of talking to me, because I highly doubt that Tyler wants me speaking for him at this stage in his life.
Yeah.
Anytime I try to,
he has his own thoughts.
He throws his arms. Yeah. He's like, nope, you are not the one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just want people to speak to him more directly than they do speak to me for him.
Yeah.
What advice would you give other families who are just starting this journey, whether it's with cerebral palsy or the communication device? What advice would you give them?
That's another big question.
Loaded questions.
Yes. Wow, so much advice I think I'd give, but I think the main advice I would give is that it is okay to ask questions and to challenge things. I think for a long time, for me, I just took doctors' words or therapists or teachers, anyone in that more authority type of professional expert level of, okay, and that's what they said and that's what is. And one of the first things I think about was the same doctor who diagnosed Tyler. I remember going back to him at a follow-up appointment and telling him, hey, remember when you said that Tyler wouldn't have memory? Well, listen, we're watching these movies and he is remembering these funny parts. It's always the funny parts. He looks at us, his nonverbal communication. I want you to see it. I recorded a video of it and he watched it and he was like, hey, I know you want to believe that this is happening, yeah, but it's not. It can't with how everything's affecting him. And I never pushed back. And I can think of many parts of my life where I never pushed back. I just took the word of whatever expert was in front of me. And their words are important, but they also, something I've learned is that the parent is the expert in the child.
Yes.
That they know.
Amen.
Yes.
I tell our new moms that all the time.
Yep. Like they are the expert in this area and the expert in this area. But as far as Tyler, I am the expert in Tyler. And I'm not just believing something. I have the experience of living this day in and day out with him. And I know what he is capable of. I know what he's trying to tell me. And so that's a piece of advice is like lean into your
intuition.
Yes. And challenge things and ask as many questions as you want. And the second part is something that was told to me by several families that I just never took the time, because it's overwhelming when you are living this life all the time and you're like, I'll get there. But the best advice I can give as far as this life is get knowledgeable, be knowledgeable, read, research, go to the trainings as far as like education goes. Education plays, when your child starts going to school, plays a huge role in their entire life and what they will be not just capable of, but the opportunities that they will have after school too. That was something that I took way too long to learn, that I did not listen to the couple of moms before me that were like, hey, you should do this. This is really important. And I thought I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And I should have, that's the advice I'd give, is start learning special education law, start looking in your area for special education attorneys and advocates and what your child's opportunities should be and can be, and specifically connecting this to the Tobii Dynavox. That's a huge part. There's just so much information there. I could speak for hours on that, but I think that would be the best advice I could give somebody just starting this journey, whatever the diagnosis is at all, is special education knowledge.
Definitely feels like the more education you have on the diagnosis, the laws, all of those things. We hear this a lot with the support of the parents connecting each other. The more education they have, the more information they have, they're able to be a better advocate for their child. And without that, they miss out on opportunities they didn't know.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And knowledge is power, genuinely. Yeah. And getting connected, like Wichita's Littlest Heroes, finding your community and getting connected, it's really, really important. And it is difficult. But if anybody understands this life, it's those people, it's those families. And I think that's, families should be way more connected than they are. It is very isolating, and you do a really good job at helping that not be so much.
Thank you.
That
means a lot. Speaking of Wichita's Littlest Heroes, how has your involvement with our organization impacted your family and your kids and siblings?
Greatly. When we were young parents starting out, joined the military, came to Kansas, and financially having 4 kids is really difficult, but then you have one with as many needs as Tyler does. And the opportunities that y'all provided with the zoo trips, Tanganyika, all those things, the museums, it allowed those moments. Some of those moments are our favorite, most special moments as families. And it makes me emotional because we don't get those opportunities as much as I wish we did. Like I said, there's a lot of effort that goes into
just getting out
of the house. And you've provided us so many very special family memories and moments where we've been able to go and the exploration place, that's a big one we frequently go to. It's my kid's favorite, and it is just, it's really nice to feel connected and do things and make memories, because it's very difficult with all the varying ages that I have, and
not just physically but financially
very much so.
Yeah,
yes,
it's not cheap to go to the zoo or the museums, and
it's really not. And
Not cheap to go anywhere.
especially with a big family too.
Yeah, I have 4 kids, and taking a family of 6 anywhere is expensive.
Yeah.
It is very expensive, and so it's allowed us to feel, I don't know, typical or normal, and go do things that I don't think we would have been able to afford to do or even looked at, because it would have seemed so like, oh, that's just too hard. It's fine. We'll go to the park or something, which that's fine too. But I think when life is not normal for my kids, I think the impact there made them feel more normal and more typical. And that was really special, because there's a lot of life that isn't that. Yeah. And so Wichita's Littlest Heroes provided that for our family. And I'm forever grateful for that. And the little events where we do get to connect. As we've grown up here in Kansas, I've gone to some events and I've seen people, and then I'll see them again and I'll see them again. And I'm like, hey, I know you. And so it's really nice.
You're so-and-so's mom.
Yeah. And it's nice to have friends for once.
Yeah.
So that's what it's like, provided a community and friends.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate
learning.
Thank
you for having me.
More about your family and Tyler and how he communicates with the world. And we hope that, there's a parent out there watching this who's inspired by him and your journey. And yeah, so thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Before we wrap up today's episode of The Hero's Journey, Life Beyond the Diagnosis, we want to send a huge thank you to our incredible sponsor, Mid-Kansas Auto Auction. We have Nicole here, and we're super excited to have her on our second podcast. And if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Mid-Kansas, how you became to own Mid-Kansas Auction.
Sure. Yeah, hi, my name's Nicole Otley, and I do marketing and HR at Mid-Kansas Auto Auction. We're a locally owned company that both my husband and my father-in-law purchased. 2019 is when they became partners, and so I moved here. My husband moved in 2019, and then I got to join him with our little one in 2020 after we decided that it was going to be a long-term investment and hopefully around for a while.
That's right. You guys moved with like a little one.
Yes. She was 1. And then we found out we were pregnant.
Yeah.
Like right after we moved here. So
and you have 3 now, right?
We do. We have 3.
Wow.
Yep. And done.
She's like, it's over. I'm
3
done.
and done.
Oh, yeah. The business takes up enough time.
Yeah. Well, Mid-Kansas Auto Auction is located right here in Wichita at 4716 South Santa Fe Street. Mid-Kansas Auto Auction has been the driving force behind our mission at Wichita's Littlest Heroes. They've donated over $67,000. They are not just a business. They are a beacon of hope and compassion for medically complex kids and their families. Their generosity helps provide critical support, unforgettable experiences, and a powerful sense of community for our hero families. We are beyond grateful for their heart, their partnership, and their belief in what we do. To learn more about them, visit them at mkaa.com. And if you have the chance to support a business that supports the community, they are it. Thank you, Mid-Kansas Auto Auction, for being a true hero behind the scenes. So we're super excited to have you here, and thank you for sponsoring the podcast. And
So yes, thank you so much for being here and your guys' continued support.
Absolutely.
What inspired you to get connected and start working with Wichita's Littlest Heroes?
The first thing about Wichita's Littlest Heroes that stood out was the local piece. The fact that, the money, not only does it stay here, but like you can track it. you know exactly where it's at. We give to other places, and there's lots of very worthy places to give to,
Definitely.
but you do have to make decisions, unfortunately, you know, and that was the biggest deciding factor. Yeah.
Local. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
and your
absolutely.
guys' support.
Yeah.
Your team has donated over $67,000 to support hero families. What motivates that level of generosity?
I would say it started, I was very civically involved in college. That just kind of was what spoke to me outside of the work that I had to do, the job I had to have. And then my husband was very close to many underserved communities growing up as a kid himself. And so it was something that I guess we both, I'm sure there's more to learn about all of it always if you're not the one living it. But we felt like we were very in tune with some of those needs and the fact that if you can give, you should. And so that's definitely something we carried with us. You know, like I said, you have to pick and choose kind of where that goes. And we definitely have to be mindful of not sinking our ship to save someone else's. But we are very big believers that, especially now that we have kids and you see other families and kids and the things that people are dealing with that are completely outside of their control, that when you can give, you should. So
how do you feel like
kind of the motto.
the employees and everyone else feels about it? Because that is so fun to see when we're there and they're doing the fundraising for us.
I think, honestly, we are a very complex, unique group of people put together.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And so it's kind of cool because we actually, I feel like, have gotten to educate and enlighten a lot of our people, not just about Wichita's Littlest Heroes, which we absolutely have done. And then some of them have become families because they learned about them at the auction. But just kind of the importance of giving back in general, and that it's not always about the money that you can give and, hey, I'm, you know, perceived as broke or not broke, or it's just what can you do that makes someone else's life a little bit better, a little bit easier, and just sharing that with them, but doing what we tell our kids, which is not just saying it, but then doing it and living it. And that's really hard. That's really hard because what we're doing at the auction, you know, I always tell them, like, we're not brain surgeons. No one is going to die, hopefully, right, if we don't do our job that day, but it is going to be harder. And we are a team. And if we all work together and make it better, they're seeing the results of what they're doing, both at work and then both now. I think this is our 4th year of having our helping hand sale, is what we call it internally. And I have heard them talking to other people outside in the community, and it's funny because I kind of catch them saying, yeah, we do this, we support this, we raise this money, and it doesn't matter which job they have. It's not just the salespeople. It's not the people at the front desks. It's not the ones actually taking the money. It's everybody. And that is really cool.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the sale you mentioned? How does that work?
Yeah. So we call it the Helping Hand Sale. We kind of dub all of our special sales with a name so that we can set it apart from the others for the dealers that are coming in, our clients.
And this happens once a year,
It happens once a year, every June, this particular one. But we actually already started. Brianna came and kicked us off the first week of June and talked to the dealers and let them know a little more about Wichita's Littlest Heroes, let them know we're still raising money for that. And it ends up being that if there's 4 weeks in June, we're talking about Wichita's Littlest Heroes every single week in June because of the build up and because we do the check presentation after the sale, the week after. But the week itself, where we raise the money, there's many ways for both our customers, the friends and family of our staff to all support and give on that special day and kind of be a part of the collective that ends up being the total for that year. It just so happens we're a pretty competitive group of people with no one more than ourselves. And so honestly, that's been a really big drive, you know.
How many employees do you guys have?
Anywhere between 105, 113, depending on the time of year. The summer gets really busy. So yeah.
Big company.
Yeah, it sure seems that way sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we love it.
Yeah, it's been really great, actually.
What does it mean to your business to support medically complex kids and their families here in Kansas?
It means a number of things. And like I said, talking to the employees, it's been very enlightening, especially for those that have been around for the last several years and kind of seeing the evolution of the donation. I think the first year we did it, we were around $13,000.
Yep.
Because we were just testing the waters, kind of see,
Which blew our minds.
Yeah. And it blew my mind too. But of course, we had to continue to raise the bar. I would say, Wichita's Littlest Heroes represents a lot of the people that we work with, not just dealers, but then also, like I said, families that have now become a part of the Wichita's Littlest Heroes community. And so, I'd say that's honestly it, is it's representing a core group of people that we work with every single day and that we consider, we spend more time with them than we do our own families sometimes. Yeah. So they're
That's
definitely
beautiful.
our work family. Yeah.
It's absolutely. Can you share a moment or event with Wichita's Littlest Heroes that really impacted you or your team?
Yes. Well, can I share it without tearing up? That's another question. The most recent one, which I had asked you about, Brianna, was we attend the annual banquet every year. And so getting the update from whoever the hero family is every year is always extremely impactful. We bring all of our managers so that way them and a spouse and, you get that buy-in and they understand where the money's going and why we're doing what we're doing, and just kind of that second reinforcement of what we already talk about all of June. And this year especially was moving with the mother-daughter that ended up having very similar diagnoses, potentially terminal, and then one ending up being terminal. And they actually, our group continuously asked me for updates on that situation. And so as I would get them from you guys or see them, I think they follow on social media, but I get an email too. And so I shared that with them, and I know that that's been really heavy on their hearts. And we've said a lot of group prayers. We say a prayer before the auction every Wednesday, right before we do the Pledge of Allegiance. And so she's been mentioned multiple times. And, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those heavy things that you carry around and you hope to do good with it because you can't change it, unfortunately. Not actually, That's hard.
You guys are making an impact.
Yeah. Like I said, we're competitive mostly with ourselves. And so I do believe we're making an impact, but we're also like, God, if there's just more time, how do we?
Everybody feels that. More
I
time.
know. I know.
What would you say to other local businesses considering supporting a cause like Wichita's Littlest Heroes?
Do it and go all in, whatever that means. And it might mean something different for everybody. Because like we said, some people have time to give. Some people have more money to give, whatever it is though. And make sure it's something that speaks to you. Yeah. Because I think that you do go to bed with a heavy heart, and it continues the drive. It continues doing good. And, doing good is great if you're doing it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. I think, because again, there's so many places to choose from. And so you might feel good about just spreading it out. But if it's something that you truly believe in, and I love seeing the stickers on people's cars around town, because you just get that special feeling of like, not only recognition, but hey, maybe we did something for them. Maybe we helped them in a way that somebody else couldn't that day, or, I don't know.
For those who don't know, we have hero stickers that are on the back of our cars. And so when they become a hero, they get it in the car, or they get it in their welcome packet. And so whenever you see a hero sticker on the back of a car, that's a hero family. And so they can recognize each other from, in the city, out of state. When they go to other hospitals and stuff, they'll see each other's stickers.
Well, and now there's the I support stickers that Brianna shared a couple of. Yeah. And so I'm excited too. I told her we're going to find a cool way with some of our top donors this June to hopefully share those with them. And I might have to snag one myself, but
yes, you get one. You guys
it is.
Get
you
some.
feel like, you just feel like you're a part of a little community, because if it has to be a negative thing, I think that's a good way to turn it into a somewhat positive thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. How has your involvement with Wichita's Littlest Heroes impacted your team culture, and just the overall fun community at the auction?
Yeah, it's, being a part of something that I feel like many of them maybe wouldn't, out of lack of understanding, or couldn't because they feel like, I don't have the money to donate. I'm living check to check myself. Like, letting them be a part of that. And we're very big on, we are a we at the auction, because we didn't know any other way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably made it harder on ourselves that way sometimes, but we're really big on that. And so letting them have that buy-in and be a part of it, I mean, how can that hurt the culture? You know, I feel like it only positively impacts it because like I mentioned before, hearing them out talking to other people. And when I say that, I'm talking, we have those people that are the customer facing people. And so you'd expect them to be talking about it because I have grilled them. I have given them the materials. They could literally read it off. But you also have these people in the back, and I say back because that's physically where they're located at our company, but they drive the cars through the sale. So we have a dealers only auto auction, and every Wednesday, anywhere between 300 and depending on a big sale, 1,000 cars are running in a matter of a couple of hours. Well, it takes manpower to do that. And so those people in the cars that they don't have time. Their job never brings them up front, really. So they're not sitting down for these conversations. They're not in the manager's meetings. And yet somehow they're getting enough information and then they feel that buy-in and they're the ones that I'm talking about sharing with other people. And so that's the part that is really cool. And it does. It's like sometimes that culture can naturally divide because we're located here and they're located here. But I don't know, it's just one of those things that can kind of bring you together. And the more of that you have, that's just good for our company in general, let alone the donation portion of it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think you can kind of feel that. You can tell me, Brianna, if you feel like it's the same, but on Wednesday during the Helping Hand sale specifically, it just kind of has this like electric vibe of like, here we go. And we're on a time limit. So what can we do? Because we constantly talk about what we raised the year before. Yeah. So yeah, having them be a part of that.
It's already like fast.
It's a big deal.
Fun,
it is.
But
so that's saying something to have them like really feel. And they always have the windows down because they want to be able to communicate if they need to move the car. But there's like a lot of extra waving, and especially if it's a dealer who has, because one of the options is for the dealer to donate per car sold. So if they're in a line and we know by section which dealer has which car. So if that driver, it's kind of funny, is in a line and they know that their section is being donated for, they'll like extra wave their hands and kind of be, you know, like this one and try to, so it's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's an intense.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Like I had never
even for
been
introverts
to
or extroverts. Yeah.
an auto auction before and like it's loud. There's tons of people.
I think loud is an understatement. There's
bells
the bells
ringing.
Yeah.
It's intense.
People in and out, hollering.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
But I was so intimidated the first time. I was like, I almost like bit on a car.
Yeah.
And now
she's
I look
like
forward
waving to people. Oh shoot, we don't do that in here. Yeah.
They make me
special symbols.
feel like I'm part of. Like people are like, oh hi. Some of them don't know my name or they do, but they know who I am.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, it's so glad you're here.
Yeah.
And
a couple years ago, we participated in the shirts that you guys do, so that way we could, because every so often we'll buy the whole crew shirts. Well, 100 plus people, we don't do it all the time, but we try to when we can. Yeah. So many of them still work there, and so I wear my shirt every year. My husband Trevor wears his shirt every year, and so they recognize the logo, and that definitely helps. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, for coming in. We appreciate everything Mid-Kansas Auto Auction does for us. And we can't wait to work with you in the future and see what it holds.
Yeah. Good luck. Thank you guys for what you do. Doing
that
thing that we can't. Absolutely.
All right. Well, go check out Mid-Kansas Auto Auction at mkaa.com. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Thanks.
I forgot to say, and subscribe and say, and wait, no, share, subscribe and share. Well, I did not write an end. I forgot to write an ending to this. I didn't. I just. Oh shit! It's MKSAA.
That's okay. We know what you meant.
Okay. Okay.
I'll sit here and smile.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here with us today, Nicole. Your guys' generosity provides critical support, unforgettable experiences, and a power sense of community for our hero families. To learn more about them, visit them at mksaa.com. And if you ever have the chance to support a business that supports our local community, they are it. So go check them out.
Thank you.
Well, at Wichita's Littlest Heroes, we believe every child's story matters and every family deserves to be seen, supported, and celebrated. In today's episode, if today's episode moved you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little hope. And until next time, keep showing up, keep believing, and knowing that you are never alone in this journey.